It's 1 in the morning, and the only thing lighting up your office is the blue glow of a phone. You're fixing broken handoffs, answering client texts, and catching the details your team missed. You tell yourself this is what leadership looks like. You assume the workforce lacks drive, and the only way to save the company is to personally bridge the gap through sheer force of will. But this exhaustion is a symptom, not a strategy. The constant need for your intervention suggests your operating system has collapsed. You are working 80 hours a week because your business has become structurally dependent on a single human bottleneck. The shift began when remote work stopped being a niche benefit and became a permanent structural pillar of the economy. This isolation coincided with a massive wave of corporate downsizing. Organizations began aggressively replacing their full-time staff with external, temporary outsourcing. In organizational psychology, the psychological contract is the unwritten promise of loyalty between an employer and an employee. When you replace permanent peers with contractors, you break that promise. This violation fractured the internal culture. The unified team disappeared, replaced by isolated, fearful factions competing to protect their own standing. The employees who survive a downsizing often struggle with acute job anxiety. They are left carrying the workload of their departed colleagues while fearing for their own security. When you introduce fast-paced, highly specialized contractors into this environment, the permanent staff sees them as a threatening outgroup. This creates malicious envy. The staff compares their stagnant wages against the perceived high daily rates of the new contractors. This envy triggers information hoarding. The permanent staff actively resists cross-training outsiders, effectively stalling the company's progress to protect their value. Executives thought they were buying speed. They actually paid for a knowledge sabotage machine. To reclaim control over this fractured workforce, leadership often resorts to aggressive return-to-office mandates. These mandates are often a form of deception. Surveys show a quarter of executives hope they will force employees to quit voluntarily. It's a passive layoff, reducing headcount without the financial burden of severance packages or increased unemployment premiums. But the strategy backfires. High-performing talent leaves at a 16% higher rate of attrition, while the employees who stay organize in active resistance. You end up with an overcrowded office full of resentful people who commuted for hours just to sit on virtual video calls. This brings the problem back to your desk. You are trying to manage a team that has stopped collaborating. When an ecosystem is poisoned by envy and passive layoffs, work stops moving between departments. Projects stall. Information is hoarded. Every single unresolved friction, stalled lead, and broken handoff moves vertically. It all lands squarely on your desk. You are trapped in an execution loop because your business is structurally dependent on one human bottleneck. Scaling requires you to move away from proximity bias and embrace location-agnostic, outcome-based delegation. The path out of the bottleneck is Global Advantage Employment's 14-Day Advantage. We place a trained, bilingual assistant into your real workflow. They work from a managed office environment, supported by a full team to ensure accountability and consistency. Your assistant owns the follow-up, the CRM updates, and the scheduling. You see the results for 14 days, and if it isn't a perfect fit, you pay nothing. Stop scrolling at 1 in the morning. Start building a system that can run without you. Go to globaladvantageemployment.com/advantage-trial.